Hello, YouTube. Well, today I am in Hyde Park, New York, visiting the home of Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt. So I'm about to go on the house tour, and then I'll go through the museum. So we'll check it out. This is the front of their home, and if we take a closer look at this, in 1915. Franklin and Eleanor had been married for 10 years. They were about to have their 6th child, and the house was getting a little crowded. The original house was this tower here, 2 floors, stopped about where that drain pipe is there, and they had to talk his mother, who owned the house, into remodeling. After all, it was her money that was going to be doing it. And what they did was this tower, they added another tower over here, completed the 3rd floor, put on the stone wing on this side and the stone wing on that side. The 2nd floor, which we will be able to get up and see, is on this side was family bedrooms. The other side was guest bedrooms. That would be, for the most part, better view. Downstairs, entrance hall that goes over into Franklin's mother's office, and the library. And upstairs was her bedroom, is in the front, so she could keep an eye on comings and goings. And then Franklin's and Eleanor's was in the back. The 3rd floor was children's bedrooms, servants' rooms, visiting servants' rooms would have been over in here, and Franklin's office was over here on this side. So let's go on in through the front door, and we'll take a look around and see what we can see. This is the dining room, and this is where Franklin would sit, waiting election results, and his mom would sit at the other end. After dinner, the men would go over into the smoking room over there, and the women would adjourn to the music room, which we're going to next. This is the music room, where the women would come after dinner, and all of those portraits over there are his mom's sort of brag book. There's a lot of heads of state that visited here and visited her son. So this is what's called the snuggery. Was his mother's office, and that record player was number 35 off the line. It was given to Franklin at the World's Fair, sent it back to his mom with a note saying, "Don't invest, it's not going anywhere." That's her desk. So underneath this glass floor, I don't know if you can see their ramp, but that would have been how they moved Franklin down into his library. So if you came here to visit, you'd meet him down here, and he would be arranged in a chair with his legs crossed in a wheelchair and cane out of sight. I don't know about you, but I could live in this room. So this is the entrance hall when you first come in. He had over 300 stuffed birds in his collection. There's one of them up there. But this is where they would greet everybody entering. And this collection over here is political cartoons that a lot of them had to do with the period around the War of 1812, and when the British King and Queen visited, his mother wanted him to take these down, and he didn't, but the king came over, looked at them, and told him that, "Sir, you have some that I don't have in my collection." Okay, 'cause Franklin, being in a wheelchair, couldn't come up these stairs, so he came up this elevator. But because they worried about being trapped in between floors in a fire. He would, this was manual operated, so he would get in here and pull on these ropes to raise himself up or lower himself down. It's counterweighted by 150 pounds, but he weighed 180 and toss in the wheelchair. So he's lifting that 200 pounds. That 150 is the actual elevator itself. So, and that's the servant's wing, and pretty basic wooden floors, no carpets, where on this side of the house everything's carpeted. So this is what's known as the pink bedroom, and King George VI of Great Britain and Sir Winston Churchill had stayed in this room. And this is the bathroom off of the pink room, and it shares with the other side, but quite a nice large bathroom. And by bathroom, I mean bathroom. There is no toilet. So this is the bedroom that Franklin and Eleanor used until the south wing was added in 1915. And then it was used as a guest room. Queen Elizabeth is one of the many celebrities who stayed in this room. This was Franklin's mother, Sarah's morning room. You see the morning sunlight's coming in. She used it as a sitting room, and then it was turned into a guest room after the addition. So January 30, 1882, Franklin was born in this bed, in this room.
I say don't miss the stables if you have the time. It's well worth that 2 minutes.
So after the addition, this became Sarah Roosevelt's room. And she chose the one that overlooked the driveway, not the river, so she could keep an eye on the comings and goings. And this, Sarah's room was there. This became Eleanor's bedroom because Franklin needed help in the night, and so that would she didn't have any privacy. That was his bedroom, so she took over this room in between the two. So this was Franklin's bedroom.
Yes.
And the phone is right next to the bed where he could grab it, because of course he couldn't get around if he needed to, and it does overlook the Hudson.
I lived in Seattle.
Okay, so Sarah, Franklin's mother, would not allow Secret Service in the house. She finally relented and said one at a time, but they had to stay down there. So in order for him to keep an eye on the bedrooms, they put this mirror in. So you could look down the mirror and they could see all the way down the hall. Where that door is just outside of her bedroom, Eleanor's bedroom, and Franklin's is right here around the corner. So that was the compromise. They could look through the mirror. When Franklin's grandfather, James, bought this place, it was 110 acres. They eventually expanded this out to quite a bit more, I think about 1,500 acres. I'm not absolutely sure, but when Roosevelt set this up to be owned by the government, run as a national monument, they worked to keep the view of the Hudson down this way. He wanted it managed so to preserve that view. Ironically, Franklin had those trees planted that eventually obscured the view. They planted quite a lot of trees on this land. Well, now that we've seen the main house, let's take a walk over to the carriage house and the greenhouse and the rose garden. Pretty nice carriage house and the horse barn next to it. As you'd expect with a well-to-do family, it's pretty nice. And they got the stalls for the horses. I guess this is actually the horse barn. So there's a few pictures of the family riding horses, and pretty rare picture of, if you look at Franklin's leg, you can actually see the braces. So even after he had polio, he would still ride with the family. Now Franklin's mother, Sarah, after all, this was her place. She wanted fresh flowers year-round, and so pretty big greenhouses so that they could have the flowers in the off seasons, and then a big rose garden out here, which is actually where Franklin and Eleanor are buried. So this is where Franklin and Eleanor were buried. That's his grave with the American flag on it. Of course, she's buried right next to him. And there's a picture out here I'd like to show you. But just look at the buds on all these roses. This place is going to smell great in about 2-3 weeks. So this is a picture of Franklin's burial. And of course, the troops were all busy with World War II. So all these military guys are the cadets from West Point. He was buried here April 15th, 1945. Well, I think that's going to end my tour of the FDR and Eleanor's home, and I am going to check out the library and museum. So that'll be coming up in the next video, and get on the road and see what else I can find. See you later, YouTube.